Hi, I'm Kevin Moore, host of The Moore Show, and it's my passion to help you live your best life now. You might be looking to find answers on love, connecting with your life's purpose, reuniting with a loved one on the other side, discovering your past lives, or just helping you make sense, finding your direction now. So The Moore Show has collaborated with the most gifted readers around the world to form The Moore Show Psychics. Now, my readers have a large range of skills to choose from to be of service to you, and all my psychics are interviewed to show transparency, with each interview available on the website. So call now, dialing the numbers on the screen to speak to my operators 24/7, or go to tmspsychics.com to choose a reader or book online. The Moore Show Psychics, helping you transform your present moment into the most loving and happiest it can be. Now, I also offer a full money back guarantee, so what have you got to lose? Empower your life now.
The comments and views expressed on The Moore Show are those of the people that make them and do not necessarily reflect the view of Kevin Moore, The Moore Show, or this radio station and its affiliate or sponsors. This show is for entertainment purposes only.
Broadcasting from the UK and across the world online. You're now watching The Moore Show, and I'm your host, Kevin Moore. Now, for the next hour, I'll be covering subjects that will open up your mind and provide you with information you may have never heard before. Now, on today's show, I'm about to be joined by my guest, Victor Odo. Now, Victor is a spiritual coach whose main purpose is to empower and help awakening souls through the challenges of the awakening process and transition into the fourth density. Victor Odo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Victor, it's great to have you on, man. It really is. You know, you've been an inspiration to a lot of people with sharing your truth on your videos and doing what you're doing, living your purpose. I think that's such an important thing in the times that we live in right now, to be transparent, wouldn't you say?
I totally agree. I think people are craving that, whether they're aware of it or not. People are longing for just depth in their life, deeper connections, more authentic relationships. So, yes, I think anyone who feels comfortable to present themselves in an honest way, it's going to be beneficial. It'll help other people feel comfortable doing that themselves as well.
Most definitely, most definitely. And there's not that many people out there doing the kind of thing that you're doing. I believe I came across, I think I came across you by a recommended video. That's why I initially came across you, and I was like, hey man, this is cool what you're doing. And I was so grateful for you coming on. Because, a lot of people have said to me recently that, Kevin, it's, we enjoy the interviews that you're doing, but where's your truth in any of it? Where's the transparency in what you're doing? We want to listen to you. And I'm like, just with what you've said there as well, I say to people, what makes a spiritual teacher for me nowadays is transparency. If you're transparent, you're a spiritual teacher. How would you feel about that?
Yeah, I think I'm hesitant to call myself a spiritual teacher just because there's so many of these definitions that we've had for a while have such connotations to them. I think that anybody can be a teacher. For example, when I started my YouTube channel, I felt like, wow, you're not ready for this, man. This is you got a long way to go. But I've come a certain distance, and there's many people who can benefit from whatever I've accomplished. You know what I'm saying? So anybody who I think has overcome anything or gained any sort of wisdom in their life could be an awesome teacher.
Very true.
And like I said, if you're just being honest and authentic is I think the best way of really connecting with people rather than presenting yourself as some sort of know-it-all guru, which right. I think people are getting kind of tired of.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay, then, are you comfortable with the word spiritual coach?
Yes, I like the word coach. That's the way that's how I kind of look at myself in a sense. I'm not attached to that definition, but yeah, I would call myself a coach.
Now, you're dead right what you said about people are tired of the old paradigm of spiritual teachers in one sense. And I use that word loosely, right? Because like I said to you, if someone's transparent to me, that's my definition of a spiritual teacher. But there's all these great spiritual teachers out there. They're not going to be here forever, right? They're a bit older than me and you, right? And they are
Right.
so stuck in their ways. They are some of the most grumpiest people that you could meet, right? And they are, you get them off camera and they're a different person. So, how honest are we right now with ourselves, me and you? How much of a different person are we off the camera right now? Are you the same person that you present yourself now? Because I'm not. I can be a right grumpy sometimes, right? Not grumpy, but I think lost in my way sometimes of trying to, just be authentically trying to, use what I've learned to embrace in making my life better, the present moment better.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Same here. Whenever I do my YouTube channel, my YouTube videos, even though I admit and I'm comfortable talking about issues I go with, I usually am. You're seeing my best self. Like you said, I get grumpy. I get mad and I yell at my kids sometimes. I get really freaked out about stupid little things. If I stub my toe or something, I swear. And I'm a real person. I'm not exactly. The way you described it, I would say, is fitting for me as well.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Right. Thank you. I mean, look, isn't that what makes being a human being? I mean, okay, then let's put it from this direction. Could you go along the lines that you are a soul, and whatever you might define a soul as, this pure beingness that we are, that we know we are, that where we've come from somewhere, we go back to it. We're a soul having a human experience. So if that is the case, and you agree with that, we're a soul having a human experience, then to be those things that we've just admitted that we are, that's okay, isn't it?
It is. It is okay. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's important to be able to accept where we are truly at, rather than like project ourselves into some unrealistic ideal, when after all we're just like you said, we're souls in this unique experience, which just so happens to have a lot of challenges and a lot of issues. It's very provocative, this realm we find ourselves in, and oftentimes it can knock us off our square. But that's okay. That's what I think needs people need to understand, is that it's okay to struggle and to get upset and to not be perfect. As long as we're doing our best, really, and just enjoy the unique experience we're having.
That's true. As long as we're doing our best, we do try our best, and don't we? And sometimes it doesn't give us the results that we want, and it doesn't give us the happiness that we want by doing our best sometimes. And I think I've got to a point now, just being honest, right, where I've been doing my best with this show, but it's been beating me, up badly. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need this no more. If this doesn't feel as good as it should do, and it's just so much harshness in some sense, right, for doing it, is it worth it? But then you think to yourself, well, I wouldn't have got where I got unless I did this show, but there may be an easier path. I think that's where I'm getting to. There may, right at the point I'm at now, and this applies to other people out there, is there an easier path for us to take that's becoming aware to us right now? Maybe 2017 is a great place for that to happen as well, for that change to happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of us experience a lot of change very quickly, where we might be totally, like you might have been totally stoked for the show for a long time, and now it's like, oh man, it's just becoming a lot of work, and it's just your heart's not into it. And it doesn't mean that was a bad or wrong move. It just, maybe it's just, I think a lot of times we get fixed and we like to be comfortable and, okay, I'm doing this now, but life is always moving, and maybe it's just time for you to do something different, do it in a different way or a different form. But that doesn't, usually you can draw upon the previous experiences that will enhance the new endeavors anyway. But yeah, a lot of times it's a balance between doing our best and also reading the data we get with our life. Okay, I'm pushing in this direction, I'm doing my best, and I'm just getting nowhere. Am I being lazy or impatient, or is it maybe I should be pushing in a different direction? That's a tough one to figure out sometimes.
It really is, man. It really is. Because I mean, look, you've been through I mean, you've been through a lot. Let's get back to this point where we're at now, and let's first of all just go to your backstory a little bit, which is really interesting. Um, just tell us a bit about yourself as well. What is your backstory? I've got a few ideas, but I mean, I don't know exactly.
Okay. Well, there's been a few like key events in my life that have sort of shaped what helped me, sort of catalyze me to get to where I am now. One of them is I became a heroin addict right after high school. And that was due to a crazy accident I experienced as a young kid. I was hit by a big firecracker, just kind of randomly sitting watching a neighborhood show, and that sort of impacted me, as you can imagine, emotionally. But just overcoming this heroin addiction at a very young age kind of put me into a kind of a unique mindset where I realized that like I was able to accomplish something that a lot of people I saw were dying from. People in my circle, they were not getting it. It just kind of gave me an air of confidence to kind of go out there in life. And I had this longing to help people. And being that I was always really into fitness most of my life, it just kind of eventually turned into me being a personal trainer and owning a gym. But then kind of like you, is where I was like, okay, I was working hard. I wanted to help, but it's just like, you know what? I wasn't getting the results I really wanted. I was not helping people to the depth I was really wanting to do. I wanted to transform people, not just have them lose 10 pounds and shove them out the door. And that just I eventually decided to close down my gym and to start making YouTube videos. And I didn't really know what to make them about. I had like 5 different channels at one point. And the one, just my own Victor Odo, my name, my vlog type channel started getting all this attention. So I was talking about like the spiritual stuff. And it just kind of went in that direction. I saw the feedback I was getting. I was actually finding I could help people in this way, which I didn't consider for a long time because it's like you said, it's a new thing. There aren't many like spiritual coach type people out there. So it's not something I just immediately jumped into. But I just started getting the feedback and one thing after another, I just kept pumping out videos, and it's just kind of grown very quickly, my YouTube channel and my online coaching business and that sort of thing. So it was that summed it up, I'd say.
And okay, have I got you mixed up with someone else? But did you met your partner when you was going through rehab as well, in a sense?
Yeah, I met her a few years after I had like gotten clean. But yeah, I met her at an AA meeting.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's in one sense, mate. That's a beautiful thing, because you were both living your purpose at that moment to help yourself. You're both in alignment, and there you are, and now you've got a family, and it's just pretty amazing, really. Well, not amazing. It's just a beautiful example to people that when you live on purpose, and living on purpose can be helping yourself as well. We do forget that aspect of ourselves sometimes, you can bump into people that you're meant to meet. I always say to people, if you want to meet someone, live on purpose.
Yes, that's exactly I think that's what was spot on. When I was in rehab, when I first got to like rehab, and I was lonely, of course. I had a therapist named Vinny, and I was like, Vinny, man, I'm lonely. I want a girlfriend. He goes, Victor. He's like this guy with like a real harsh New York accent. He says, who the hell would want you? You're a mess. You're a junkie, And he's like, wow. He was right. He was like, I was not in a place to attract my ideal partner. I was in a place to attract a dysfunctional partner, which would have been a current match for myself. But like I said, I started to live on purpose. I started to work on myself, and then it was more in time. The timing was more ideal for me to meet someone who would truly fulfill me, that I was ready for.
Yes, and her as well, having worked on herself.
Yeah,
being in that space. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's a great place for you to come from. It really is. What was your? Did you have an awakening moment where you said to yourself, "Okay, I know I'm more than my body. I'm something else, maybe nameless in a sense." And did you get to that point? Was that a point that woke you up?
Yeah, in fact, it's funny. Just before you asked that, I thought in my head, like, man, I left out this part. I had this like crazy Kundalini awakening, is what a lot of people call it. It's what happened was I used to grow my own psychedelic mushrooms and to kind of just explore my consciousness. I would use them in low dosage to kind of just, because I would tap in, and all of a sudden I was on these mushrooms and I was meditating really intensely on my third eye. At that time I was on a whole third eye kick. I just learned about what the third eye is, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to open my third eye. And I was like listening to this song called Third Eye, and I was just jamming and meditating, and all of a sudden I felt this, like the song ended, and I was like, I realized something was going on. I felt this like mass, this ball, like it felt like a softball, real large ball making its way up my spine. I just kind of went with it, almost like I had to vomit out this ball. It was kind of a weird thing. And then it got lodged in my head with all this pressure. Then it sort of just exploded into this big blinding white light. And then I went into like the ego death experience. But after that point, I was like, oh wow, that was a trip, But this energy that I experienced at that time, it just kept coming, just randomly, being sober, just hanging out in my day. I'd have these rushes of energy so intense that I would literally have to stop what I'm doing and just lay on the floor and let this energy course through me. And then there's all these other like typical awakening symptoms that kind of came along with that. And that got me to researching, and oh wow, it seems I had a Kundalini awakening. And that is sort of when I became more consciously aware that I was going through like a pretty legit type of transformation. And that was about like, I don't know, almost 10 years ago.
Wow. Okay. 10 years ago almost. Was there any sort of books that you were reading at the time or afterwards that sort of heavily influenced you?
No books that influenced me. I was just trying to figure out what I was going through. It was such a real experience that initially it was very difficult to find any real solid information on. And eventually I stumbled across this lady named Bonnie Greenwell. She wrote a book I read. I can't recall the name, but she did like online sessions, and I did a phone call or a session with her. She was a Kundalini specialist, and then she was able to kind of clarify what had happened. And then from that point on, I read, half a dozen books on Kundalini and spiritual awakening, and I've just been sort of voraciously consuming that sort of content ever since.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because I also understand that you had almost a near-death experience.
That was kind of, are you referring to the Kundalini type of experience?
I think it was, yeah, because wasn't there some sort of angelic experience? Was that the Kundalini as well? Was that experience, right?
That initial experience, yes. That's what it felt. It felt like death. It's like what people kind of call ego death, but at the time I didn't know what it was. It just happened to me. But yeah, it felt like dying and just completely like letting go and being like deleted from reality. That's the way it felt, like I was going to be deleted and there was nothing left. But really, when it happens, you just kind of like merge with everything. And it's like a typical mystical type of experience.
But was there some sort of angelic being that greeted you as well?
No, not at that time. I've experienced beings and whatnot at various times, believe it or not, but not at that particular time, no.
Okay, but you have had that experience where it's a very emotional kind of experience to recall when you think of...
Yes, I think you might be referring to this dream I've spoken about in my other video. This is before my Kundalini awakening. It was a dream I had in a rehab where at that time I was only 18. I didn't believe in God or anything, and I was like yelling at God, thinking like, man, why have you put me here? It was like my fourth or fifth time in rehab. I couldn't get clean. I'm just sitting at the end of my bed crying, and all of a sudden I just blasted. I just like emerged in some other realm. And that's probably what you're more referring to, where there was an angel there, and it came up, and it wrapped me in its wings, and the whole place sort of emanated with just a very pure, deep love is the best way I could put it. And that was quite an experience as well.
That was the experience, yeah, right, okay.
But that was not enough. I like to point out that didn't do anything for me. I didn't even stay clean after that, because a lot of people are they hear that and they would think, oh, I need to have that. I want to have that experience. But again, a fleeting experience, as ecstatic and mystical as it might be, usually is not enough to influence a permanent change, and that was the case for myself.
No, that's true. I mean, I've had many people that have had full near-death experiences. They've gone in cardiac arrest, and they've felt like they've been away for months and had life reviews and all sorts of wonderful things. But no, yeah. I understand what you're saying when it wasn't enough. When I had my near-death experience, it still wasn't enough for me. But it is something to, without any ego attached, to be able to say now, oh, well, I have been there and I did get to experience that essence of, a micro portion of unconditional love, maybe.
Yeah, it's exactly. On the other hand, it certainly does stick with you. It's a legitimate experiential proof that way more than we typically experience in our day-to-day life actually does exist, and that can't be taken away. And that's sort of nice to fall back on at times. So yeah, it's on one level it is very profound and impactful.
Yeah, because I think for yourself and for myself, I'll say this, it is sometimes recollecting that to people can be emotional, and that's no bullshit. It can be, because it's almost like touching that purest part of yourself that you've forgotten in a sense, or you get to remember at that part when you did have it. It's unexplainable, but it's nice to be able to share it though. Well, when you do your videos then, seeing as you've not really, had that, there's not that one pinnacle book or that one author or whatever, that one type of study that you've done on anything, which is a cool place to come from. When you're doing your videos, and you've done shitloads of them, right? Really great videos, that are helping a lot of people and will continue to help people, right? Where the hell is this information coming from?
A lot of it is just my own experience, believe it or not. Just stuff I've experienced, and it's hard. I get ideas and topics or videos from different sources. Sometimes I will answer a question from if a lot of people are asking the same question. But initially, it just started out with me sort of explaining present issues I was working through, and we're always working through something. I'd wait till I just sort of overcome or learn or glean some sort of life insight, and then I'd make a video about that. And it seems striking that so many people would say, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm going through. So I have no real magical way of creating content that just happens to be what a lot of people are going through. It just ends up sort of working out that way.
Yeah, but when you're doing it though...
But a lot of it just...
So go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying a lot of it just comes from my own experience, and it's just sort of intuitive. I would say it's definitely intuitively guided. Like, I'll just get an idea for a video topic. And, the way I would describe like divine guidance is oftentimes characterized by just really raw, natural passion and enthusiasm. Like, oh, wow, this is exciting, And that's what happened. I just pops in my head an idea for a video, and I'll have that excitement feeling that I'll know, okay, I'm going to pursue this. And then I just have a general idea of what I'm going to talk about, and then I just sort of talk about that. But I don't really script too much. I just kind of let it fly.
No, I mean, I don't think you're scripting it at all. I mean, maybe you've got the bullet points there for the areas that you're going to cover, but to me, it's very much like you're channeling it.
Yes, I believe I am. Honestly, I don't usually like mention that, but for my own definition of what channeling is, I would say it's certainly a type of channeling experience. I would definitely say I just let go and almost like what I'm going to say just kind of emerges, and I just say it. It's almost like I'm trying to keep up with what's happening within rather than on a mental level,
Right. Now that's exactly it. That when I watch you and doing channeling myself and practicing it, I see that in you. Now, for when I watch you, I'm like, oh man, that's definitely coming from his higher self. It ain't no separate part of you, the higher self. These are just words to kind of, talk about things that we don't really understand, right? But I'm just saying it's almost like it's your soul it's coming from. It's you, but it's that greater part. Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you said you was okay about me saying that.
Yeah, totally agree. It's exactly. I believe it's like letting my higher self kind of come through, or my soul. It's what comes through in the videos. I oftentimes benefit from. It's like, again, it's not coming from Victor. I just kind of step out of the way in a way.
You kind of let go, don't you? You kind of let go.
It is, and the degree at which I can let go is usually what tend to be the better videos. I can really let go.
Oh yeah. Now, if you scripted these videos, you wouldn't be using them. I reckon you've probably done that before, and it's just it don't work out. It don't. If you're reading it from an
Right.
auto cue, it's just not going to happen. But when you let it come through, do you think that's an issue with a lot of people, that we just don't go with the flow sometimes? We just don't let go. That we can choose the things that we want to experience in life, but when we try to define it and say, well, I want it to be exactly like this, or I want to achieve that, but actually sometimes what happens is, something, when you let go, something even better comes for you, just like when you do your videos.
Yeah, I think it's like a really interesting balance that none of us were taught. On some level, of course, it's good to set goals and specific deadlines and that sort of thing. But at the same time, it's sort of respecting and acknowledging the limitation of our mind's ability to really predict and know exactly how we want something to go. Because say we want to do something 3 months from now, well, in a month, something happens that totally would modify, it would make us see this whole goal differently. And a lot of times we can get really fixated on like that initial goal because it's comfortable to have it, rather than starting over and modifying. So it's this careful balance of, I think, going in a preset direction, at the same time being very fluid and flexible, and adapting with the data you receive on the way. And it's just sort of a fine line balance that I know I've been personally, working on and improving at, but I know there's a lot further to go, because I tend to get stuck and fixated and frustrated. But less and less than before.
Yes, much less than before. Definitely. When you first started doing these videos, was it a lot of trust? Because were you thinking to yourself, shit, is this going to provide for me? What the hell? Where the hell is this going to lead? I've got a family. I've got responsibilities. Was there any of that kind of thinking going on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I started doing them because I felt extremely intuitively guided to close down my other businesses.
Yes.
That were, I had a gym, I had a gym I owned, and then a medical marijuana grow operation. They kept me fairly financially comfortable, but I just knew that it was not like what I came to do. And it was just like, I knew I just had to let them go, and I let them go, and it sort of jumped off a cliff there. And then I started to do, it kind of gave me like, okay, well, now I'll start doing what you've always wanted to do, which is to be on YouTube. I've wanted to do that for a while. So yeah, there was like, I would say, I don't know if it was I trusted fully, but on some deep level, I knew what I was supposed to be doing, and it would eventually work out. But at the same level, I was freaking out the whole time, like mentally, because it was quite freaky to take that big of a leap of faith.
I can imagine. Now you said there, I think, kind of paraphrasing your words here, but you said you kind of jumped off the cliff. It's almost like, okay, now you got to learn to fly, yeah. And you got to push yourself beyond your limit. But didn't you already push yourself beyond your limit when you opened the gym, and when it wasn't initially working out? Then you got the first client in who actually saved you, in a sense, or those first few clients. Did you not do the same in that process?
I did. Unfortunately, having had that experience, it was helpful. I've had this jumping off the cliff sort of theme in my life on more than one occasion. And this was like my big one, where I had a family to provide for. My guidance said, you got to cut everything off. I'm not going to tell you why, but it just, again, the internal nudges were so compelling. I did it. And that was probably the craziest thing I feel like I've done. But again, having those other experiences where I've done that same thing, let go of something big without yet knowing something new is going to come and take its place, and yet having the life show me that, okay, you let go here, and now this new thing has come in, and the timing was right, and everything was okay. Even though you're freaked out, now you're happy you did it. I've had that cycle repeat itself many times, to where I felt that's why I was prepared for this last big one, because I do know it does work out on some level.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying there, and I think for myself, it's been that same process. I'm about to jump off the cliff because, at a time when I really need to make the money to do the things I want to do, which are just around the corner, like to go to the US and other things, I've almost got to stop what I'm doing that's making my money right now and concentrate on just some other things, because, if I love myself enough and I want to be abundant, the things that I'm doing right now are not the right things completely to be doing. I've got to do something else. When you get to those pinnacle points sometimes where you're like, it served me to this point. I know we've said this in the interview before, but it served me to this point. But when you just know, don't you? In that gut feeling.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with your own self-evaluation. That's what it sounded like to me when you were talking about that. You're at that similar point as well. It's for the way it worked out for me is I had that knowing kind of like you're saying, but I ignored it for quite a long time. And my life just sort of became like obnoxious in showing me, you have to let this go now. This is you're gonna attract crazy shit into your life if you keep hanging on, Victor. And it got a little nutty. That's why I think it was so crazy for me, because I held on so long. But it has worked out for me. I believe it's a fundamental shift a lot of people are going through, and a lot of the people who are going to go through it have the level of divine sort of connection to where it's not going to be easy for most people, but it's totally doable. And the experience of that transition is very empowering. And then it kind of, for me, it just made me feel like I can do anything if I can get through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And something you mentioned that's really powerful there, Victor, is that you listen to that intuitive side. Now, most of us ignore it, or most of us don't even realize it's talking to us. How can you identify when it's intuitiveness speaking through you? Is it because it feels so loving and so passionate, or is it something else, do you think?
I usually associate it with passion and excitement and enthusiasm. And then what happens is you might have an idea like, oh my God, I could be doing this and this and this. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Oh my God. But then that goes away. The passion goes away. There was your guidance. And then the mind starts to analyze all of that. So, oh, well, dude, have you thought about this? Well, that's not practical. That's not likely. Oh shit. And then all the fear and that kind of takes over. It's about jumping. It's about going forth in absence of that initial guidance, in spite of all the fear energy that usually will start to cloud all of that. But the way I would characterize it in the divine guidance is by just passion, excitement, just pure, like when you're really tuned and you feel optimistic about something, you just feel really good. And it's not just of the mind, your whole body resonates with something.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And you can apply that in love life or whatever situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you go with that.
Yeah, it's like following your heart. It's what people, I think it's just following your gut, following your heart. That's the way I would put it. It's nothing. A lot of people, I think, feel they're not getting intuition or intuitive guidance because they label it as some sort of mystical manifestation, when it's really just following your gut, following your instincts, following that passion,
Yeah, exactly. And in a lot of your videos, there are some points, quite a few of them, where you touch upon the law of attraction, where, when you think it, you become it. You know what I mean? Where energy where thought goes, energy flows. Whether it's, in videos about talking about loving yourself, or videos of, manifesting the life you want, you obviously come from that space a lot more now, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I definitely, exactly. I feel like the law of attraction is misunderstood by a lot of people, but essentially I would say that you can sort of roll with it and design your life to a pretty remarkable degree when you sort of work within that, which essentially is just following your gut instinct and then expecting to run into your own fears along the way. And you have the benefit of kind of shedding those too, and just continue following that excitement, following your bliss. That tends to be, I think, sort of how it works, rather than like I've had times I played around. Like, I want this, and the law of attraction. And you're right. You start putting energy into anything, and it starts to sort of fester and grow, and you get like signs and stuff. But a lot of times, what our mind thinks it wants is not what it actually wants. But when you just follow that gut, your bliss, your excitement, that tends to be more in alignment with what you truly want. And therefore, it might not be a direction you go and then backtrack because you realize that's not for you. I know that might have sounded kind of confusing.
No.
You let me know if you want any more clarification.
No, it does not sound confusing. What you've said there is really good stuff. Like, as you just even finished off there and said that sometimes when you follow your passion, you go and start something, and it actually isn't what's best for you. How many times have people, you've heard people say about other people, oh God, he tries this, he does that, he's never seen things through, blah, 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 blah. But I say, well, hang on a minute. Sometimes we've got to try these things to see, are they for our best? And, rather than carrying on trying something or doing something that isn't in our highest alignment, it's better to bloody get it right. And that isn't being hairy-fairy about it. That's just, well, are you living in purpose, or are you living from fear?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times I think like what I do with my clients, I'll always ask them, like I try to help them find their purpose. So I'll say, what do you think your purpose is right now if you had to guess? Oh, I think it's this. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna take action in that direction. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with that initial thought, but doing that thought, the pursuit of it will in a roundabout way lead to the actual thing. And like you said, you got to kind of jump from stone to stone to stone. Sometimes they're not failures; they're just feedback from life to show you, okay, this isn't it. Okay, this isn't it. Oh wow. But after all those jumps, now you finally found it. And you would have never found it as waiting. You got to sometimes get yourself out there in life. And again, just not label failures or mistakes as bad, rather just feedback, data that you can use to better hone in on that real thing.
Yeah, but how many times are we so bloody hard on ourselves when things don't go right? We can be our own worst enemy. I think you did a video recently. You talked about self-love and how much we don't love ourselves, really.
Yeah. We our minds have these really unrealistic expectations of how our performance at life should be, and then we're always letting ourselves down. But we're just, again, a lot of it's just like it's the way we're like we think we're supposed to be perfectionists and flawless at life, but that doesn't work. And then we set ourselves up for all this disappointment and grief and guilt and whatnot. But I think the core problem is that just we are, again, unrealistic with how life actually works. But yeah, it's hard. That's why a lot of people, I think, just stay stuck. They don't want to go through the trials and the failed attempts to get to that thing, because it's extremely for me, when I was like trying to find my purpose and stuff, I can't tell you how many times I put energy into something, and then like my gym, I started a gym. 3 years later, closed it down, and I was like, wow, I felt horrible. Like, what a waste of time and energy. But again, none of it was. At least it came to all sort of help play into this thing I'm doing now. And I think that's the case for a lot of people. They're able to draw from all their previous things and actually use them to enhance whatever their new thing will be. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to try something, to be excited about it, and then have it completely flop, and you got to start over. It's tough.
I think your stories that of seeing things through and them not working out for yourself as well, and this applies to other people. It's inspiring because you learned something from it. One day when you go to share this on a bigger, on a stage, maybe. I mean, you've got a stage right now. That's a YouTube platform, and that's only going to keep growing. But maybe you do conferences and stuff. I think it will inspire people to know that you're a real person and that you've learned from things and you've become a better person for it. I mean, this is how people connect when you've got a bit of life experience under your belt as well.
Yeah, absolutely, totally. I think that's what I always give people a little hint about their purpose. I say, what do you struggle with your whole life? Well, master that, overcome that, and there's a purpose right there. I struggled with trying to find my purpose and trying to, and in doing so, I have like a level of actual raw experience that people can sort of pick up on when I talk and then connect to, like you said, been there, done that sort of attitude.
Do you get a lot of younger people contact you as well? Because they must have a lot of pressure on them nowadays from trying to be the best they can be at such a young age and stuff, and trying to make it, which is just a lot of bollocks, really. But there must be do you get that at all from?
I do. I do get a lot of young people, but I have a very broad demographic. Surprisingly, a lot of it's like YouTube channels have like a smaller population of people, like women between 30 and 50 or something. Me, it's like I get younger teenagers, and I have a lot of people in their 70s who watch. So I get the whole gamut. But yeah, definitely a lot of young people tend to dig me a little bit. Cause I think maybe if I swear and I have tattoos and they feel like, but yeah, they a lot of young people.
Well, they can connect to you. That's the thing. Because I don't mind. How old are you? I mean, sorry, I hate asking that question, but
it's okay. 32.
32. Wow.
Okay, no problem.
32. God damn, man. Okay, I'm 38, so that we're a little bit different there in age, but wow, 32, man. There's no age to the soul. Yep. Sometimes, is there? And see, you're for. Yeah, that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing. You're going to help the younger generation in that respect, definitely.
Yeah.
Are you surprised with the growth of your channel?
On one level, yes. It's just because like the real experience of it is sort of it is going very quickly, At the same token, I've always believed that when someone finds their thing, it just happens. Like the universe will support you when you finally yield to what you came to do. And I feel like in doing so, I've done that. And early on, I could just see where it was going. That's why I dropped everything else, started putting all my eggs into this YouTube channel basket. So on one level, I've always believed that's how it will work. At the same time, the experience of it is pretty exciting and stressful at times. It has gone very quickly for me.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, as a person who's been doing YouTube for a little bit, I know when a channel's growing quickly because I see it sometimes with other people's channels, and yours is most definitely, and that's a beautiful thing to see. And I think some people, I think the reason your channel's growing quick, and I think the reason you could apply this to many channels as well. Why do some channels have so much great following? I think when someone's living their purpose, that's addictive to watch. So
yes.
I think that's that, and people don't even know that's why they're addicted to watching the channel in the first place.
I totally agree. Like I had a fitness channel. I made like almost 100 videos for this fitness channel. It's called Sustainable Six Pack. And after 100 videos, I had like 200 subscribers. And I was very good. I could talk very comfortably about fitness. I was very educated. But it wasn't my thing. It didn't have the energy behind it like this does. Like you said, I think there's just some sort of hard to put your finger on essence that people have in whatever they do, whether it be a YouTube channel or not, that when it's in alignment with what they came to do, it's just people are like drawn to it like a moth to a flame.
And have you found that by living your purpose, you're now finding your tribe? No, quite honestly, no. And what's happened with me is for a long time I felt like I'm out of place. No one gets me. I don't get anybody. But rather than having actually found a lot of physical people just like me in my life, I've come to accept that my role is to be different. I believe when I came to the planet or whatever, before I incarnated, I believe I knew this is how it'd be. I would come here and I would have a lot of ideas and views that are just very different from other people. And it doesn't make for a very popular guy, but it just sort of comes with the territory. On the other hand, people like you, people like you are sort of coming into my life, but I don't have like a big group of friends, you would say, that are just like me in the sense of, I wouldn't say I have a big physical tribe, but that could very well be down the line. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think you might be surprised. I think you might be surprised with how dear some people hold you that are watching you as well. I will say this, I've been finding my tribe doing this show. Now maybe, okay, I'm coming from a different angle, I'm interviewing people, it's a little bit different, maybe, right? But it will happen for you. They're out there, man. I mean, maybe I'm one of them. Who knows, man? I mean, I think by looking at your picture, we've got the same color hair.
Right.
So we've got one thing in common.
Yeah. Right.
You will. You really will. But I think a lot of people, when I mentioned today that, I'm interviewing you, it just to somebody else, the producer that I'm working with on a documentary that we're doing this year, a lady called Marcella, she knew who you was, man. The people know who you are, okay?
Huh.
And I think pretty close. We don't think about these things sometimes, do we? But I was sure I was speaking to you about someone else when I was living in Amsterdam, because I moved from Amsterdam just a few weeks ago, and one of my friends over there, Whitney, I'm sure she knew who you was. She'd seen your YouTube channel. So it's a small world sometimes on YouTube, brother. It really is.
Right.
It's all good.
Yeah, well, that's encouraging. I would hope that to be the case. I've grown pretty close to a lot of my coaching clients, but again, they're all over the world. I believe as we follow our purpose, true relationships do come. But I'm in that still faithful. I have a wife and young kids who were on the same page, but I appreciate you saying that to me. That's encouraging.
Good. And I know we're almost at the end here of this interview, right? But you've started another channel right now, which is to help people find abundance in awakening, which I think is a fabulous thing to do.
Yes.
Great what you're doing there, really great, right? And This is the problem with this industry, right? Is we awaken, and then it's like, I'm too spiritual to make money, bullshit. Yeah, which, I hope I'm not suffering from karma completely, right? But I think it's been there a little bit. Yeah, I'll be honest. Yeah, and I meet a lot of other people who are in that same thing. So watching your videos on monetizing yourself, in a sense, they're great videos. It's an important thing you're doing there because. You don't need a massive audience, do you, to be able to make money? Because your videos, as you do the call to action for your coaching services, people are drawn to you because they resonate with you. So I guess what I'm saying is, you can make money from what you're doing. You just got to think about it differently, how you're approaching it.
Yes, exactly. What has to drop, and it's the exact case for myself, is like the whole abundance will just be there. The whole spirit, it's just gonna manifest. It's like, well, yeah, but you got to figure out how to do that. There are actual usually secondary skills involved with monetizing your purpose, whatever it may be. And I think a lot of people, myself included, had an aversion that I don't want to have to learn about sales and marketing and web design, but if I want my message to get out there, I had to learn all that stuff and teach myself how to make good YouTube titles and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to help people with that other channel, is just teach them more of the skills associated with monetizing your passion, which can be done. But again, it doesn't just happen effortlessly. You got to you got to do it correctly in a sense.
Absolutely, and I think you having these other businesses probably helped you to get to this point, so that when you did awaken and do your purpose, which was your free will to do it or not, and you've chosen to do it, which is great, right? That you had something, a basis to back you up on, then to be able to make money from it, because there's nothing wrong with that. So again, everything you've been through has happened for a reason. I do believe. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly right. When I had my gym, I had to learn how to build websites and market and write good blog posts. And then once I had my new purpose, my thing, the YouTube channel I have now, I was able to use all those skills. And that's another reason I credit my YouTube channel growth, because I just from the very get-go, I knew how to title things and rank videos. If you type in Lightworker or Starseed, I'm right there at the top. And it's not an accident, because I knew how to tweak all the different things to get that stuff up there. Yeah, so you're right. Everything has sort of helped me indirectly.
Yes, no, absolutely. And there was one other thing I just wanted to mention to you there as well. Darn it, it's left my brain. It always does that to me. There was just something else I wanted to mention about what you're doing. Well, okay, then it's gone. But look, what would you say is the most important message of your work? To follow that excitement. To follow, everyone has this divine guidance, and they just don't know what's happening to them. All it is an idea that excites them. Okay, I'd love to be doing this. Do that. Figure out how to do that. Make that your job. That kind of thing. Just keep following that, and expect to always run into yourself, because the faster you go forward towards that excitement, the more of your ego, the more of your fear is going to crop up. And that can seem as if it's not meant to be, or maybe that was a bad idea, but it's not. That's just the conditioned self trying to keep you at a stasis and miserable. But if you just keep blindly following your inner guidance, then that's how people can create a life that is in perfect alignment with what will actually make them happy on all levels. Just follow your bliss, follow your excitement. That's my main message. Right.
Be yourself.
Absolutely. I remembered what I was going to say now. Thank you so much for that. That's very, very powerful. And also, what I would add as well is that, yes, there's me saying earlier on, I'm not happy with what I'm doing sometimes. I enjoy this part. This part is a beautiful part of it, right? But the other aspects of it are a struggle sometimes. Editing, exporting, getting things up on time, building websites, all that kind of stuff. So what I'm trying to say to you is that when we do live our purpose, don't think everything's going to be a beautiful bed of roses, because we've still got to do some things we might not want to do, even though that is living purpose. Could you go there, or am I wrong, do you think?
No, I think you're absolutely right, and that was something I had to get over. I thought that's what prevented me, because I take on a new thing, and then they go, well, I don't like this part of it. There's a lot of stuff I don't really care to do. I don't like making YouTube thumbnails. I hate it. I'm not good at it. I hate taking pictures of myself. It drives me crazy, but I got to do it. It's something that kind of comes with it. There's a lot of little stuff like that I'm not like super passionate about, but go along with delivering my message, and it goes, so I think I had to accept that I have to do a lot of hard work, and maybe down the line I can pay someone to do the damn thumbnails, but right now I got to do it, and I'm going to do it because there's so much other stuff associated with my thing that gives me pleasure and joy. I don't like the negative YouTube comments. Probably you don't either, but I like helping people. It's just kind of a trade-off in a sense.
I'm so used to being called the Antichrist or the devil right now. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, I'm really cool with it. Don't worry. I love those Christians. They're all good people. Okay, well, and don't forget that, if you go to your website, you can get your free ebook as well. So your website is?
It's 21stcenturyseeker.com.
Excellent. Well, Victor Odo, just thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your truth.
You're very welcome. It was fun talking to you. I appreciate the invitation, and again, thanks. It was fun.
Well, we've come to an end on today's show. Don't forget that you can listen and watch all our past interviews on the More Show's official YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new daily shows. You will also find out more on our past and upcoming guests by going to themoreshow.com, and do like us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates. So until next time, be safe. Hi, I'm Kevin Moore, host of The More Show, and it's my passion to help you live your best life now. You might be looking to find answers on love, connecting with your life's purpose, reuniting with a loved one on the other side, discovering your past lives, or just helping you make sense, finding your direction now. So The More Show has collaborated with the most gifted readers around the world to form The More Show Psychics. Now, my readers have a large range of skills to choose from to be of service to you, and all my psychics are interviewed to show transparency, with each interview available on the website. So call now, dialing the numbers on the screen to speak to my operators 24/7, or go to tmspsychics.com to choose a reader or book online. The More Show Psychics, helping you transform your present moment into the most loving and happiest it can be. Now, I also offer a full money-back guarantee, so what have you got to lose? Empower your life now. What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually?
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago, we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them, visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies? Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS.
Established over 100 years ago, Watkins Books is one of the world's oldest and leading independent bookshops specializing in esoterica. We have the widest selection of esoteric books in the UK, and our friendly and knowledgeable staff are here to assist you in a unique ambience of our shop. So come and visit us in the heart of London as we're open every day.